Hello, welcome to chemistry. My name is Professor Jacob Stewart. I'm a professor of chemistry at Connecticut College, where I teach general chemistry, that's going to be this class, as well as physical chemistry and analytical chemistry. Connecticut College is a small liberal arts college in New London, Connecticut, and these videos are primarily meant for my students that are taking my classes at Connecticut College. But I also put them up for free on YouTube for anybody who would like to use them for studying chemistry, learning, supplementing whatever you're using in your classes. So for those of you who are finding these videos elsewhere, besides my students at Connecticut College, welcome, hello. I hope you are able to enjoy and learn from my videos here. So this is an introductory chemistry class, and so we're going to be starting from the very basics and then building up and learning more and more about chemistry. Now, chemistry is a wonderful subject. I love teaching chemistry. I love learning about chemistry. I personally study physical chemistry, which is some of what we'll be talking about in this class. But it's understanding the properties of matter, understanding, in particular, I study the physical chemistry of the atmosphere. So I'm interested in atmospheric chemistry, what happens in the air, reactions and molecules that are in the air around us, in the air that we breathe. So hopefully, another area of chemistry I find really fascinating that I don't do research in is astrochemistry, understanding the chemistry of things out in space, exoplanets, things like that. So that's another really interesting area of chemistry. And you may be surprised to hear that chemistry covers such a wide range of topics. So in this first video, I just want to give a brief introduction to what is chemistry and why I find it so interesting. And so let's just give a definition right up front of what is chemistry. So chemistry, if we put it in the very simplest terms we can, and we'll have to explain one of those terms, but chemistry is the study of matter. Now, the thing we have to define is, what is matter? What does this mean? Matter is a term that we use as scientists to mean anything that has mass and occupies space. So it has to take up some space. So this excludes things like light. Light does not have mass and doesn't take up any space, though light does end up being really important in the study of chemistry. So we will talk about light in this class. But we're talking about all the stuff in our lives, in the universe. Right, and so in chemistry we're studying matter, and specifically we're thinking about things like composition. What is matter made out of? And we think about that all the way from like a very broad scale of like what goes into making like steel or something like that, as well as the very smallest scale. Thinking about atoms and molecules, which we'll talk about in our next video. And those two are related to each other. To be able to understand the what we call macroscopic properties, the properties of a bunch of atoms together, of the stuff around us, we need to understand what's happening with the individual atoms and molecules. And so those are intimately linked to each other. The other thing we study is structure. How do these atoms and molecules fit together? And we also just consider other properties. And we'll see there's lots of different properties that we can think about. Things like density, things like how you can convert one type of matter into another type of matter, what we call chemical reactions, which is a really important part of this class, and we'll spend a lot of time thinking about that. So if we're thinking about matter, that includes anything, right? So if you think about our bodies are made up out of matter. We think about air. So like what I said, I study atmospheric chemistry. That's matter. Even though we don't think of it as having a lot of form or whatever, it still has mass and takes up space. So air is the form of matter. We can think about anything that in the earth, right? It all has matter. And as I mentioned, space. And we could go on and on and on, right? Essentially the entire universe is made up out of matter. And so chemistry really links all of these different areas of science. And so we often call chemistry the central science. There's a different textbook rather than the one we use that's called Chemistry, the Central Science, because it's at the center of a lot of different things that we want to study. If you're a biologist, chemistry matters. If you're a physicist, chemistry matters. If you want to study the brain, neuroscience, chemistry is involved there. And so that's why this class is required for so many different majors. So that's a very brief introduction to chemistry, a little bit about me and why I like chemistry. And in the next videos, we'll go into a little bit more talking about matter and how we classify it.